is full, and fear fills the air. They bump in the kitchen, and no one is there. Howling of the wind screams out in the night. Better lock your doors and settle in for some story fright. One of my closest friends came to me, fresh out of high school. And when he came to me, he was telling me these stories, because we used to get together on weekends and beer and campfires and tell stories of paranormal or history, psychotic killers. We used to do it all. But one time, my friend Ron came to me, started telling me about Chief Lake, the Warren house. It's like a cabin right on the lake. It's been abandoned for 20 years. I told Ron I've never heard of it. So he explained to me this story. It goes back to the mid-1800s. There was a chief in that area who minded his own business. And along came a certain person who wanted the land. So I asked Ron, what do you mean by chief? Was an old man who stayed there, who built this house on the river for his family. But they ended up with tuberculosis and died. And for some odd reason, he couldn't explain why he didn't. And the story goes so deep into a witch who cursed the land, supposedly chief, through this woman who had lived there for many, many years. And supposedly the land's cursed. It's kind of fuzzy. I tried to look it up, and I got a few articles about it, but nothing spectacular. But my curiosity got the best of me. So I took a trip to this so-called lake. And to my eyes, such beauty. I seen it. It was about a 3-hour drive from where I lived. So I came back home with some photos and showing my friends, and for some odd reason, this worn down cabin, that's what it looked like, or just a rundown old home. And Ron brought a guy he knew for a long time, as old man, and he started explaining the story of that area. Supposedly, the woman's name was Lauren Walker. She was an old witch that used to do many things on the land. And one of her things she used to do was sacrifice animals and do spells. It was very intriguing, to say the least. So, I wanted to hear more. So I started going in the town near this lake. And boy, did I get an earful.
You must be crazy.
No.
So, as this lake, which looks totally beautiful, I must say, very intriguing, and it just captivates you, and for some reason it's like its force wants to suck you into it. Very relaxing. So then I found a lady that lives in the town near this lake, and her name was Suzanne Walker. Lauren Walker was her great-grandmother, or great-great-grandmother, I should say. And the story goes, she used to hypnotize children and sacrifice them. And way back in the day, everybody wondered as the years would go by, this woman would never age. But yet the townspeople still couldn't find their children. And the more I dug into this, the more deeper and things started coming. Because even before Lauren, there was another man. All I could get was his name was Shapiro, who was Angel of Darkness, his nickname. And according to old folklore, he summoned the beast right where the house stands still to this day. But all the times that I noticed that I went there, one thing that didn't dawn on me, but soon will, but supposedly townspeople back in the day came and got Shapiro and hung him on a tree right behind where the house stands. And Lauren, well, she was a little girl when that happened, and according to the story, she saw him being hung, and something stuck with her. So this woman, well, as she got older, she had a medium-sized family, but they kept dying off from something. As we know now, what they didn't know then is she was poisoning her own family, a sacrifice to her master. And they say that on this land, that if you intrude or try to stay on this land, something comes to take you. There's so many stories out there of all these different places and famous ones and stuff. I have yet to even hear about this. But I was told to keep the actual location quiet, so we'll just keep it as the Chief Lake. I can't say no more about that, but I am going to tell you the story. First of all, two families tried to live there in the 50s and the 60s. The family in the 50s, the woman in the house went insane and chopped her baby up in the backyard and took its innards and spread it around this tree and supposedly did these spells and curses. Then they say that not only did she kill her baby, she cut off her husband's genitals and took his innards and rubbed it all over her while she was doing a spell. And she had two teenage daughters. Supposedly, she tied them up by this tree and had this creature of some sort or a beast. Some say it was just a monster or a bear, or some say bear, some say this and that. But a lot of them say it was Lucifer because it had hoofs and it was half man, half beast. And a child came out, but I guess the power of God prevented it from living. But it looked like part goat, part human. Then the second time it happened, it lived until about 8 years old, but it was half man, half goat. It was too freaky.
Oh no!
That was that story. And then, now this is documented, but a family in the 60s had 3 boys and 3 girls that lived in that house. And it is documented by the police. They started calling the local sheriff and the police in town. They would come there and say they would hear things, and they saw figures in their backyard, lit torches that looked like it's from the 1800s. The kids would say something was in their room calling their names, as they would look out the windows and see these half goat, half man figures. And the oldest teen said he looked out the window and saw children whispering his name. He said he don't know how he could hear it because he was on the second floor of the house, cabin, whatever you want to call it. But it was like they were standing right next to him saying his name. Then, what's odd about this story is they say 2 different stories. The husband went nuts, killed his family. The second story is even police documented. They got a phone call saying, "Help, we need help, please come." Fuzziness and sounds they couldn't explain. And when they got there, everybody was mutilated, missing intestines, hearts, eyeballs plucked out. But the funny thing is, if the husband did it, his hands were chopped off and his eyes were missing. And from the police reports, he was the one that died first. And as I looked deeper into this, they were calls numerous times about voices. 3 times they got calls, and they don't even know who called. It was nothing to do with the family. So, I was telling Ron about this. Then I said, let's go. Let's investigate it. It's a big hoopla nowadays. Let's go check it out. He wouldn't go. So I went there alone. Looked like a peaceful place to me. And when I got there, it was the very end of summer, beginning of fall. Some leaves were down. Such a beautiful day. Such a beautiful time. It looked beautiful. I felt warm, cozy, welcoming. The first 2 nights, it was like nothing. Every day, just relaxing, morning, coffee, blah, blah, blah. You know, a couple times in the night, I thought I heard this or that. It was just the wind outside. But then the 3rd night is when things started to change. I could have swore I heard a little child saying hello. Stuff moving downstairs. That was it. But by the 5th night, something wasn't right. And something was about to change my life forever. I started hearing whispering throughout the house constantly. It sounded like somebody saying my name. I don't know, it was weird hearing things, tapping, creaking of doors, someone tapping on glass. With the voices. And that 5th night, for some reason or another, I felt tired, but yet I could not fall asleep. And I could have swore I seen something in the corner of the bedroom. It startled me really, really, really bad. And then around 11 o'clock at night, a little closer to midnight, I started hearing chanting outside, and it looked like this off glow of fire. I looked out my bedroom window, and I could not believe my eyes. Was my mind playing tricks on me? Or was I actually seeing what I was seeing? It looked like a cult, standing in circles, in trails of human bodies, cut up in pieces hanging off trees, and thing with hoofs on its feet standing by the tree where that man was hung. Then I slowly looked up to the window, started pointing at me. I moved away from the window so fast, my heart felt like it's beating out of my chest. I heard the door downstairs, the doorknob wiggling. I kept hearing these voices, this little child's voice saying, "Join us." And I didn't know what to do. I was in shock. Every time I try to go downstairs and go to the door, something would fall or Someone move. I seen it with my own eyes. Then I saw this man standing by the stairs. Dark shadow with glowing eyes. Started talking. I could not make out what he was saying, but I know it was something bad. And as he stopped, because I screamed, I just remembered that I had a gun. I ran upstairs and grabbed my gun, but then I finally thought to myself, this is not going to help me. It's not going to help me at all. What was I to do? So I came back downstairs, and it sounded like something was walking behind me. But every time I looked, there was nothing. Then I started getting this tense feeling that I must leave. Evil, pure evil was surrounding me. Then I started hearing banging. And I looked and the couch was being lifted up and slamming on the floor. Furniture moving on its own, and this insane laugh. This woman, witch, cackle, whatever the hell it was, but I just know I was terrified. And then this overwhelming fear came over me like, I'm not going to be able to leave this place. Then this woman appeared outside the window, saying stuff to me. Saying, join her and her dark lord, and you could be my slave. The only thing that could come to me was the Lord's Prayer, and I tried to say it, and every time I tried to say it, something got thrown at me. I got hit in the head once. It knocked me out. I woke up and it must have been an hour and a half later. I was tied outside in this pentagram. I surely thought it was over for me. And these things started surrounding me. They were translucent, but yet they could touch me. And this goat thing, hoofed man, whatever the hell it was, started saying these words, and it felt like something was trying to come into me. I couldn't move. I just started screaming, "The Lord is my Savior." It felt like they were burning my flesh, telling me to stop. It hurt so bad, but all I could say was the Lord's Prayer, screaming it to the top of my lungs. Then I woke up, and I was still in my bed, but yet my flesh was cut. I had burn marks all over my skin. So I packed my bags I went to my car. The damn thing wouldn't start. It wouldn't start.
Come on. No.
Then I saw this glowing light going towards the back of the house. Something was pulling me there. And as I looked, I seen spirits of children burning in fire. The woman standing on this hill, hideous, flames around her eyes. So I was able to get away, running, and I told the police what I saw, and I told Ron. That's the last time I seen Ron. And I told the police about the back and what happened to me. I still had the marks on me. Ron didn't believe it and he went there. When the police finally got there, all I could find was a leg and a foot. It was crazy. I lost my friend. I kept telling the police and stuff what I saw. They didn't believe me. Then one night, I went back. And when I got near there, Ron was by the tree, waving at me. I started smelling this rotten meats, this smell. And they say when you smell a rotting corpse, it stays with you forever. And I think that's what I was smelling. This woman just couldn't let me go. She wouldn't leave me alone. Then I saw these kids. Things was replaying in my mind. I couldn't help what I was seeing. Over and over again, seeing these kids getting their heads split open, stabbed in their chest, and these young teenagers being constantly ripped apart. And I saw them what they did to Ron. They sacrificed him. These freaks. I tried my best to do whatever I could. Maybe find their bones, release their spirits. It kept following me, and then I finally got an investigator to believe me.
Hello? Hello?
The section is a very popular place now, but before that, they finally turned over the whole grounds area, tore down that house, ripped out that tree. But the visions still come to me. I seen them with this girl. I don't know. She looked maybe 19, 20 years old. But it wasn't in our time. They were all having sex with her. Then they cut out her heart, saying these weird ass words. And as I went through this, every once in a while, I think I see something out of the corner of my eye. I still have night dreams, bad, scary. This old woman keeps coming to me in these dreams with Ron. She scratched my face and squeezed my wrist. I get bruises and people think I'm crazy, thinking I'm harming myself. But they did find the bones of all the people. And a priest blessed the land. I got this bloody pentagram that keeps showing up in my house. I put 2 or 3 coats, but it still comes back. I even tore off the drywall and put a new drywall set up and repainted it, and it still shows up with handprints on my window. Beware of things that calls you. Don't listen. Stay away. Do yourself a favor. 'Cause now my life is so fucked.